following is intended only for mature audiences.
Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Stinky.
Hi.
My son.
My son.
Such a shitbird. I've told you stories about him pissing on stuff, right?
I don't remember if that so many stories as it was. No, it wasn't part of your act. No, I don't think you really have mentioned the pissing part.
Well, there was an episode called Piss Boy.
Oh, yes.
All right, and I talked about how he came in the bathroom, tried to get his diaper down, couldn't do it in time, pissed on the floor,
Yes.
cleaned it up with the towel, put the towel back on the vanity, and left the room and didn't say shit.
You bastard.
And then, not too long after that, he was at his mom's house, and he did something very similar. He pissed on the floor, he tried to clean it up with a towel, and he threw the towel in the bathtub and didn't say anything to anybody.
Who the f*** is this guy?
Since then, I would like to point out what a fucking dirtbag he is. I let him go to the bathroom outside a few times when we were at a park.
Sure.
He's like, well, what am I going to do? I'm like, just lean forward and just go like you'd normally go. And I'm holding his shirt up for him and blocking everybody's view of him. And he's like looking down and he just starts going. I wish I could still piss at a distance and with such force as he does, because he shot that shit like 3 fucking feet without even trying.
It's amazing when you're a kid. You could really, even though you miss everything, you still got the power to get there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I will say that forever and a day, we've had this concept in the bathroom called the pee cup.
You guys have?
Yeah, so if they're in the tub, rather than get a wet kid out of the tub and get the floor all wet or dry him off and then sit him on the toilet, I'm like, just pee in the cup. So there's a cup that they squat over, or in his case, he has figured out how to do this without telling me he's doing it. He grabs this little cup and he pees in it, and then he leans over the tub and he pours in the toilet.
Okay.
It's better than him pissing in the tub.
Absolutely. It's just, I give him credit because at any age, I would have had a tough time not peeing outside of the cup or splashing it. You know what I mean? Especially with his trajectory.
Oh, God, how far he goes sometimes. And you know, he fucking squeezes his pee and poop out. He doesn't let it happen. I'm like, quit forcing it, dude.
Ooh, he's going to have hemorrhoids.
Something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just remember distinctly this one time I was in the bathtub as a kid, and I started peeing, and I had that kind of trajectory, and it came out of the water, and I got myself on the face. Like on the chin and my nose and lips.
Yeah, I think we've all pissed up on ourselves before. I don't know if I've ever got myself in the face, but I've done something similar where I could see the water coming out of the tub, as I pissed.
I think all guys have this thing when we're younger, when we have that kind of flow pressure, where we'll see how far we can back up away from the urinal and still hit it without getting the floor.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I used to cut paths through the bubbles because I would, I would be pushing so hard the whole toilet would fill up with bubbles. And so then I would start cutting paths with my piss through it, and slicing it and dividing it up. And I mean, it's amazing the stuff as kids. And here's another little fun fact since we're off the beaten path. So did you know that muscle you use to control the force of your pee is also the one you use to control to ejaculate? I learned this from Ron Jeremy in his documentary in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Huh.
That's why he would always have such control. He could count down his ejaculate.
Well, it's just the muscle that you use to hold your pee in.
Yeah, and also the same one to force your piss out, though, too. Like, if
Flex
when you go
in, push out. Flex in, push out. I'm doing
Same
it right
thing.
now with my stomach, kind of. It's okay.
Yep, that's it. Those are the muscles you use for... you may complain about having a little guy that just wants to dribble out now. That might be why. You haven't been forcing your pee out. You haven't been pushing it.
Interesting.
Yep.
So I need to work that muscle.
Apparently. According to Ron Jeremy. Years and years and years ago.
I will say that years ago I figured out that when I want sex to be over, I flex that muscle like I'm holding a pee.
Yeah.
And then I will just pump and pump and pump and pump. And then when it's time to pull out, I don't have to squeeze. I'm already squeezing. So I pull out and then I just let go. And then I come happens. And then it's like I didn't make a baby. And that's why I'm batting 1,000 with pulling out and not so much with coming inside of women and relying on the pill.
Yep.
But yeah, I figured that out a long ass time ago. Just to kind of, I'm going to do that literally the whole time. But I can also flex that muscle. Like if I have a boner, I can make my dick move.
Oh, yeah.
Not everybody can do that.
Not a little dance? Yeah, I can. Yeah, weird. We're talking about this, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's not at all weird. There's nothing wrong with two men that have known each other for almost 20 years talking about their different dick tricks.
And dick muscles and how to work it.
Yeah.
Meow power.
But here's some stories otherwise of things that he's done that are just fucking deplorable. So we're at the splash pad like 2 months ago. And we come home and I tell him, go throw your swimsuit in the tub and put your clothes back on. Now he goes into the bathroom. He throws his swim trunks in the fucking bathtub. But then his sister comes in and blocks him from getting his clothes. She's doing her thing. Next thing I know, he's out in the hallway. He's like, Dad, look. I'm like, why? And he's standing, but he's leaned forward, so he's looking at me upside down through his own legs.
Oh,
and he thinks this is so fucking funny. But I'm like, hey, dirtbag, I don't want to see your butthole, okay? So go put your clothes on. So what does he do is he grabs a cheek in each hand, and he pulls them apart, and he's like, Dad, look at it. Look at my butthole. And he fucking gives me a goatsy in the hallway. That sick, perverted little fucker. And I'm just like, dude, I don't need to stare into the universe between your butt cheeks like that. It's inappropriate and it's improper. Inside I'm going, this is hilarious. This kid's a natural. I'm in trouble.
Right?
Yeah.
Years to come, you're going to have so many issues.
I mean, did your boy ever do that?
He would do the typical kind of grab his wiener and kind of, Dad, look, and you know what I mean, kind of shake it or, you know, things like that.
Shake it?
Well, you know, kind of.
Fucking waggling it at you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Interesting.
I mean, I gave him credit to have enough to waggle, I guess, but that was about it.
Well, there's that.
Yeah. But no, not too much of the butthole, but he would show the butt. He'd be like, "Look at my butt," you know, type of stuff, but not the butthole. That's a different level.
Like he full on just instinctively knew to spread his cheeks and show me his stink eye.
Peekaboo!
You think there's some things that are instinctual, you know, like ducks knowing how to swim and search for food, you know, some kids just inherit the instincts of their parents, like yours.
Just he knows to show his asshole off to people.
Right, you know, like that's going to get the most laughs.
Well, that's the thing about mooning, is back in the day when me and Big Neil, or other Neil because you're here right now, would be up at the lake in Pine City, is we would moon cars from a certain spot nearby the campground. And one time I just spreaded my cheeks. I'm like, dude, it's way funnier if you like spread your cheeks and show them your asshole as they're going by. And I've talked about this. There is a restaurant in Pine City. It's called the Pizza Pub.
Oh, yeah.
It has a big storefront glass set of windows flanking either side of the front door. And on multiple occasions, back when Neil had his Blazer, like a 90s Blazer,
Sure.
the big higher ones, we're driving by. I'm like, dude, stop. I'm going to moon him. He's like, okay. We pulled in front of the Pizza Pub. I pull down my pants to stick my ass out the window. He starts honking. And sometimes I spreaded my cheeks and sometimes I didn't. But everybody that was eating right there in the front row got a show.
While trying to consume pizza.
Yeah, and then we drive away laughing our asses off. We never got in trouble for that somehow.
It
even
was
though
Pine
it was
City.
indecent exposure.
I am pretty sure Pine City, that was kind of normal up there.
No, nothing like... We never saw anybody else do anything like that.
You didn't know the locals.
Well, I mean, I dated a local, so I knew some of the locals through her. But I mean, just being places and other people driving around and honking and shit and flipping people off, I never saw anybody else's asshole. So I'd like to think that I was the Michael Jordan of mooning in that town, in that time frame of 98 to 2002.
Right. You own that town in some backwards way.
I fucking did. Fucking Pine City. Dragons. So back to Piss Boy. We go to the beach for my birthday every year to the Elm Creek Park Reserve swimming hole.
Oh,
the
yes.
man-made pond for swimming.
I know it well. I usually see it when it's drained in the fall, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So we're in the water, and obviously most people don't get out to pee when you're in that water.
They should, but you're right. Most of us don't.
Yeah, I'm just going to admit, I will piss in the water. I don't care. I'll just swim backwards like I'm trying to move around and get away from the warm spot. I don't care. It's chlorinated. That's what it's there for. Mm-hmm. And there's so many other kids. That it's got to be like 35% piss.
That's what I was just going to say. It's borderline up near half piss.
Yeah.
Recycled water.
So here's Junior saying he's got to pee. I'm like, dude, just go. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, just go. Just go in the water. So he goes to undo the front of his fucking trunk. I'm like, no, dude, just sit down. Sit down and just fucking go. He's like, I don't wanna. I have to go to the bathroom. Take me to the bathroom. So we are getting out. It's the end of the day. We'd been there for almost 2 hours.
Sure.
So he held it for a pretty considerable amount of time.
Wow, especially a kid.
Yeah. So we're standing there, and he's like, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go bad. I'm like, okay. So I did my stepdaughter take him to the bathroom. And when they got to the bathroom, he refused to go in because I wasn't with him.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So he comes back. He's like, Dad, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go so bad. Now, we have a blanket down. It's like a foldable beach blanket. It's like thicker. It's not an actual fabric blanket. Next to us is a fabric blanket. There's a foot of sand between us. He's standing in between them. And he keeps saying, I have to go right now. I have to go. I'm going. And I look, and he's pissing down his leg.
Sure.
And then he steps backwards and continues to piss down his leg onto this other person's blanket who's not around. And I'm like, everybody hurry up and pack your shit.
We
need to
here.
fucking go
Yep.
because Piss Boy just douched this lady's blanket in fucking urine.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Leave the scene of the crime. And what's funny is you talk about him peeing on the floor, wiping up with a towel, and not telling anybody. You're kind of teaching him to do that in a way, too, by, bailing. I would. I'm not holding anything against you. I would have gotten the F out of there, too.
Yeah, so then we took our shit and we went to the showers where you wash your feet off. And I'm like, you better go rinse the hell out of your trunks, boy. Just stand under the water. Why? 'Cause you pissed yourself. And he's just sitting there and he's like dancing around in the fucking water like he didn't just do something absolutely disgusting to somebody else's property. And I'm looking around like I don't think anybody even noticed that shit or heard what I was saying. So victimless crime, I suppose. It'll dry by the time they get there. They're never going to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
I'm
might
not
just
encouraging just pissing on people's stuff, but...
Well, and if there's enough of a trail to look like maybe it was a wet kid came and just dripped on there for a little bit, you're safe. But yeah, if they actually smell it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It went down his leg and pooled around his heel.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
They saturated it then, huh?
Not terrible, but I mean, the sand was also wet. It's apparent that something happened that was gross. Which is not as gross as he could be, but I'm going to keep riffing on stories of shit he's done lately. He asked his sister if she wanted to kiss his wiener.
Oh, no.
Not like, do you want to kiss my wiener? He's naked in the living room. I'm like, put some damn pants on. Come here, we got to get dressed. He's like, do you see my wiener? Do you want to kiss it? I don't even know where he got that from, because it's not like he's seen me get my wiener smooched.
Right?
And I don't know where he talks about that, but one day he was in the kitchen and he's singing this song. And he goes, sexy sex, sexy, sexy sex, sexy, sexy sex. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? He's like, nothing. I'm like, where did you learn that sexy, sexy sex song? He's like, Jason. Jason is a 13-year-old kid from his daycare.
Oh.
Who happens to have Down syndrome.
Okay.
Which means I can't get mad because it's hilarious.
Right. And there's going to be a lot of stuff coming unfiltered from this Jason kid then.
And I'm just thinking, I pictured him saying it with the goofy grin he gets on his... He's a really sweet kid. He's just fun to be around. As comedian Shane Gillis says, people with Down syndrome pretty much are the only people that seem like they're having a good time all the time.
Yep.
They're fun to hang out with. I mean, my sister-in-law has Downs and she's a blast.
Yeah. Most of the time, I remember in school growing up, we had special needs kids in some of our classes, and they were always having a good time and never seemed to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Now, there were some other ones that always were having a bad day, and I always felt bad for those kids. But they weren't the Downs kids. They were just...
Special?
Yeah.
Like special, or just like their parents didn't love them enough?
Like chewing on the hand and moaning all half the class type
Okay,
special.
so like fully tarded.
Yeah.
Huh.
I felt bad because the one that I'm thinking of in particular, even in middle school, this kid was probably like 6'1", 280, and you know, the special needs gal. I mean, she was shorter and round and probably in her 40s, but there was no way if he really wanted to do something, she was going to stop him. It's kind of like trying to control a silverback gorilla. I mean, he's just going to do what he's going to do.
Can't you just like give him an Oreo and tell him to mellow out?
Well, and that's usually how they would control him, right? Usually with kind of a reward system and all that. But sometimes he was just, you know, like most kids that age, he was having a bad day and yeah, watch out.
Well,
anyway.
So there was that. And then that same fucking day that he sings that song, he's in the tub with my daughter. I'm trying to get baths done faster. They can still kind of share the tub. He doesn't do anything overtly...
Except for saying to
dirty.
Kiss his winner.
His winner. Yeah. Well, I leave the room, and then I hear her go, says that there's blood in his wiener. And I come in, I'm like, what? What's going on? And I look at her, I'm like, there's blood in his wiener? She's like, yeah. And she goes, show him. So he's like, Dad, look. And he grabs his dick with his thumbs and his index fingers. And he pulls the fucking head open so I can stare down his pee hole.
Right.
He's like, looking down. He's like, looking down. There's blood in my window. And I'm like, never do that again. That is so fucking inappropriate that I want to spank you right now. And he gets this really stone serious look on his face like, uh-oh, I messed up.
Right.
And then I look at my daughter and I'm like, don't encourage him to do that. And if he does it again, tell me so I can spank him. So now I'm playing them against one another. And it's just like, did you ever see the movie Bruno with Sacha Baron Cohen? He plays like the fashionista.
I didn't. I saw clips of it, but I never actually watched the movie. Yeah.
I saw that in theaters with a number of people. Our buddy Rick James is one of them.
Oh, sure.
I've never seen a non-porno movie that showed as much dick.
Oh, I gotcha.
Like actual dick. And they would do cutaways between some of the scenes that would just be like weird dick stuff.
Okay.
Close-ups of a dick. I think there was somebody helicoptering. One of them, there's a freeze frame of a dick, and all of a sudden the pee hole talks and goes, Bruno!
Ah, so it was something along those lines. Okay.
It basically, as soon as he did that, I was like, fuck, I just flashed back to seeing that movie.
So you kind of remotely hit on a topic that, a little bit of a left turn, but it has become, you know, maybe Bruno led the way, but it has become a lot more fashionable. I don't know if you've seen in a lot of shows and just in general. There's a lot more dick in shows, movies, series.
I guess
mean,
I haven't noticed.
A lot more dick.
A lot more dick.
If you ever watch like The Boys or I think they have a new one called Gen Y.
No, Gen V.
Gen V. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Gen Y. Yeah, Gen V because of the V is the drug.
The compound V. We're not talking about millennials.
Yeah, right. Which is also a very good show. I've been enjoying that. But yeah, you see a couple dicks in that already.
Yeah, but aren't they almost like costume ding-dongs that they've digitized like special effects on?
True. It is a digital dong. Like the one girl, she can get super small, so the guy's perversion is to have her get small and hang off his dick. And so they show a close-up of her kind of like hanging off of it and like kicking his balls with her heel to like get him off and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
so,
I thought
it's
she
pretty
went
graphic.
Say that again.
What?
Say that.
It's fairly graphic. It's not like you don't see like an enlarged dick that she's hanging off of or sliding down the shaft erect. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm getting at.
Am I recalling this right? Did they not go inside his pee hole? I thought she went in his pee hole or somebody went in his pee hole.
No, I don't think so.
Somebody was inside of a fucking pee hole at one point.
Was that the first? Was that in The Boys?
Yeah.
Okay, that might have been in The Boys. Something like that, where a guy got exploded from the inside.
Yeah, because they re-enlarged while they were inside of him.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, just a lot more dick. In fact, maybe it's spoiler. Maybe I shouldn't say it. In Gen V, another scene, a guy turns around and his dick is just hanging there, and the one chick, she can control blood, so she starts like in panic mode. She engorges the end of his dick, and you see it get all big and explode.
Oh,
so I mean,
God.
it's just like,
Oops.
yeah, I mean, it's just so many other things are just like, man, growing up, this would have been like not even just R. This would have been like NC-17, and it's like, no,
Or full on
just,
X.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like Urkel ever showed Laura his dick.
Well, not that we saw.
And Steve never showed DJ Tanner his dick.
No. That would have also been like child crime. You know what I mean? Like
I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays I'd like to show Stephanie Tanner my dick.
Oh, Stephanie.
See? See, there's people that are like, fucking DJ's the oldest. She's so hot. She's not. Kimmy Gibbler? No, thank you. She's a butterface.
Stephanie was...
But Stephanie was where it's at because she grew up and she has big boobs.
It was one of those things where I hadn't seen her for years afterward, and I'm like, the show rebooted. I'm like, that's Stephanie Tanner? No, like, Jesus.
Maybe I need to watch this shit.
Everybody grows up, but yeah, it was kind of like they're trapped in time, and you're like, you don't think of them that way.
Yeah.
I guess that's more what it was just a shock. Like, oh, Jim. Yeah,
As
Stephanie
opposed
got
to the
boobs.
Olsen twins who got older and just looked like weird fucking child sex dolls.
Yeah, they look like kind of alien babies, especially the one would starve herself. Hopefully she's doing better with that.
So these other stories are kind of building up to this. I don't know what the fucking issue was. And this happened at my wife's house. My son got mad at my daughter, the 6-year-old. Not my stepdaughter, the 13-year-old. So I hear in the background, he peed on my clothes. And I went, what the fuck are you talking about? And then my wife starts interrogating her and then him. So here's the story. Whatever she did that made him mad, he decides he's going to get her back. So at some point, there's a basket of clean clothes that my wife has folded. And I don't know how much of it he fire hosed, but he dropped trow and pulled out his winnow and he pissed on the clothes.
Wow.
Yeah, Piss Boy's revenge is literal piss.
Meow power.
That's like some Dane Cook pissing on the coats type stuff.
No, it was shitting on the coats.
Shitting on the coats. Oh, yeah.
Someone shit on the coats.
Shit on the coats, yeah.
I mean, that's funny in and of itself, but he just fucking pulls out his dick and pees on her clothes.
My son?
And she doesn't know how much is clean or dirty, so she just has to
to
rewash
wash it
the
all.
whole fucking load again.
That's some vindictiveness at a young age, man.
Oh, if you do anything to upset him, he's like, do you think that's funny? Well, oh, do you think that's cool? Oh, you hurt me? Well, I'm going to take a knife and stick it in my eye. I'm like, okay, that doesn't hurt me.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to poop on your face.
That might just be being creative, but if there's a hint of
No, he's angry when
possibility
he's
about
saying it.
Yeah.
Here's some other zingers from lately. I'm going to wreck your whole house. I'm going to break your house.
Good luck with that.
I'm going to break your car and throw it away. I'm going to hurt your whole body and then you won't live here anymore.
Wow.
And then the classic one from last night. I'm not going to love you anymore.
Aw.
I know, usually women say that to me,
Right.
not little boys.
Well, maybe he's getting in touch. He's it sounds like he's looking for ammunition, weapons to use, for leverage.
That's why I won't let him play with Nerf guns. I'm afraid where it's going to go.
Yeah. Might escalate. He might have a fascination with guns.
Or even toy swords or fucking like toy lightsabers or any of that shit. I can't give it to him because he just wants to swing it at people.
Aren't you worried, though, that maybe if you don't give it to him now, he'll have an even unhealthier obsession with it later?
That's fine because he'll have the dexterity and the propriety to know what he's doing. He won't have the experience, but he'll know, oh, I'm not supposed to hurt people with this. As opposed to he gets mad and he just wants to swing on everybody. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't know if I ever peed on anyone. And I'll close with this story that I'm not proud of now, but I've told it before. Well, there was years ago that I was with some inmates and they said their cellmates was a royal terror. And I wasn't sure if they actually meant this. They're like, yeah, few of us took turns peeing a little bit in his mouthwash.
Oh.
I'm like, seriously? He's gargling with Pisterine? I didn't turn him in for nothing because I honestly didn't think they'd do it because I'm like, you realize that is a crime, right? Yeah.
I've heard of people taking toothbrushes and using them on their butthole and then putting it back,
That's just disgusting and I don't think anybody should ever do that. Wink.
Right.
So yeah, that's my son lately in a nutshell. No pun intended. He's fucking showing me his butthole. He's opening up his pee hole.
Pissing on stuff for
He's
revenge.
trying to get people to kiss his wiener and he's peeing on other people's clothes. I really hope that it doesn't become an issue because yesterday at his mom's house, we're outside. He's like, Mom told me I could pee outside. I'm like, no, you can't. Because if you do that and someone sees your wiener, you can go to jail. So please don't do that.
Man, you are giving him so many conflicted signals.
She told him without running it by me, so I'm just trying to fucking save a little face here.
Well, no, and there does have to be rules. I mean, just like anything in life, is your son. Yes, there are these things that we can do, but there's certain guidelines, right? And it's just, you can't give him carte blanche to do it without giving him the guidelines, right? And that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
And that's the end.